Welcome to the Economic Development Council meeting. It is April 14th, 2022, and we will just jump right into the agenda. We try and keep these meetings to under an hour. Oftentimes we get carried away with great conversation. So for people kind of new to this meeting, forgive me. Sometimes I might be terse or segue very quickly, but I'm trying to watch the clock the whole time. So our first item on the agenda is the Easton Chamber of Commerce update, new program director introduction. So we have Isabel Wilson and Lisa DeVos. Lisa, I've not met you. It's great to see you, to see a new face. Between Isabel and you, maybe if you could, introduce yourself, share a little bit about yourself and what you bring to the chamber.
Sure. I actually, I have lived in Easton for 22 years. My husband was born and raised here. I've raised my two children in the town, and I have been doing real estate for the past couple of years. I was a stay-at-home mom for quite a while, and I got back into working and doing real estate, and then this opportunity came along, and I said I thought I would love it because I do love the town, support the town in any way I can, and would love to promote and help businesses. And I thought it was a great fit. So I'm enjoying it as I'm learning. It's going well.
You get to see a whole other side of how things are put together and all the work that I know for myself that you take for granted for so long that you think just happens, and you don't realize that behind the scenes there's a team of people running around supporting one another, making these wonderful things happen. And now you're the leader of that team.
100%. You don't realize what goes on to get things done. That is for sure. Yeah.
So Isabel, what do you have to say about Lisa and what the excitement of bringing her on?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously we had a hard act to follow, and Karen Newman had done great work, but Karen obviously is still around, and she still helps us if we have any questions, so that's fabulous. I think that the main thing is that we feel that Lisa is going to build on the momentum. Mm-hmm. She has a whole network of people within the town that she is in touch with. Having a child still in the school system is also a great benefit, because there's things that us empty nesters are not so much familiar with, that Lisa will be able to keep us up to date with. There's also the fact that she has the ability to jump in and just to get stuff done. If she doesn't know the answer, she knows how to find the answer. So we're really looking forward to a fresh pair of eyes, and bringing some new ideas to the table as well. So we are calling you from our office conference room. So if you see us sort of sitting back and not looking at the screen, it's because we actually have you all on a big 100-inch TV in the conference room.
It's terrible.
So
my face is like 2 feet big, 2 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly. So if we
Bruce's beard looks great, though.
It's because we're enjoying the wonderful view of you all in glorious Technicolor on the big screen.
Okay. Well, Lisa, I don't know if I don't know if Isabel shared with you the relationship that the chamber has forged over the past year or so, 2 years really, with economic development, with the town. I like to think we are all, the chamber and us on economic development and other leaders in town, are very proud of that relationship that we have created. I do think that the relationship created over the past years has been incredibly positive, and we haven't had something like this before. And much to what Isabel said, we want to keep that momentum going. We want this to be, we want to support you, and we need to support you so you can support us. This is a reciprocal relationship. The more you succeed, the more Easton succeeds. So we absolutely need to keep that momentum going. In the past, Karen would always reach out to myself or to Dottie or Dan or whomever if she had any question, if there was ever a business that was having a question or a struggle, anything. And we might not know the answers, but we know how to resource the answers to help you. So please use us, all of us, as a resource with all of your businesses. Any way we can help, that's what we need to do.
Okay, absolutely.
So does anybody else have anything they would like to add or introduce or comment? Say hello to these guys. Dan,
I'm for one very excited. Like, Lisa is a great, collaborator, facilitator, communicator. So all the qualities that I would want to look for whatever organization I would be working with. I just think it's great. So congratulations. Looking forward to working with you.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, you're going to do great. So completely thrilled and excited for this new chapter.
Great, me too.
Anybody else? Dottie, Stephanie?
Just welcome. Again, as Mark had said, the relationship with the chamber has really been great over the last couple of years, and looking forward to working with you more in the future.
Awesome.
Great.
And we haven't met, so I'm chair of the select board, and for my day job, my paying job, I work with Old Colony Planning Council. I'm the economic recovery planner, so I work for 17 communities, including Easton, to help advance their economic development goals. And I have a lot of information about grants and different things that come out that I share here and across our region. So feel free to reach out anytime that I could be helpful to you, or you want to bounce off ideas, and really excited to have you on board.
Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you.
And just to round things out, Bruce and John, if you could just, share a little bit, introduce yourself and share with Lisa a little bit about what you bring to the table and why you're here.
Sure, I can go first. Thanks. I had a little trouble. I'm traveling today, so my first attempt to connect didn't go very well. But so I originally am from Easton. I live in Bridgewater now, but I still run Northeastern Machine Company, a manufacturing company in Easton and up on Elm Street. So my background is pretty much from that manufacturing. We deal a lot with the schools and other organizations on STEM programs. We do a lot of outreach with all of the trade schools in the area, Southeastern, BP, Old Colony, down to Diamond Regional, and really just trying to support kids and programs that are going into manufacturing or STEM related programs.
Awesome. So a random fact for you there. Kristen, who works with us here at Bella Real Estate, is your next door neighbor.
Ah. Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. And one of the comments was that your location is always pristine. She's like, I don't even think twice about the fact that it's called Northeastern Machine. She said the place is absolutely pristine always and every day. So just share a little feedback to you.
Thank you very much.
I thought she was going to say mow your lawn.
I was waiting there. I didn't know.
That's awesome.
Bruce, you're up.
Yeah, I'm Bruce Boyer, Director of Facilities Management here at Stonehill College. And I actually live in Rhode Island, but these people don't hold it against me and they still let me attend the meetings. But no, I've been at Stonehill for 14 years and been on the committee here for quite a few years. So, and we get a great team and we try and get a lot accomplished. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Yay.
All right, so that pretty much rounds everything out. And in the effort of time, I'm going to move into our next agenda item. Isabel, Lisa, feel free to stick around. I'm sure you guys are super busy, but thank you for coming, and it's great to meet you, and we all look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
So, all right, our next item on the agenda is the walking tour presentation. So if you guys recall, maybe 2 meetings ago, we talked about tourism in Easton and how this idea was, at least for me, it had never really entered our mind. And then once it entered our mind, once Stephanie introduced the idea of the realization of our downtown area and its incredible history and how tourism would lead to positive economic development in that area. And then in that same vein, it was how do we get people downtown in the streets, walking around? It's like we're sitting on a winning lottery ticket, and we don't know how to cash it in quite yet. So we talked about a walking tour. And so I went online and I did some research, and I found Jim Koza, who is with us today. And this is what his company does. His company creates walking tours, and Jim is going to share with us a presentation. My goal in this is to excite everybody, to motivate everybody to want to do this, and down the line we'll be able to implement this, hopefully. So Jim, if you could introduce yourself and
Yep.
take it away.
All right, sounds good. And I know you know, in the time frame, I figured I would talk through what we do first, and then if we have to get in, we can go online if we need to. But I'm the director of sales for Travel Storage GPS, and it's spelled STORYS, not STORISIES. CEO Story Clark, that's her name, Story. So anyways, just if you Google us, if you look up the app, but what we do is we've been around for about 8 years. We have created about 200 plus tours in the United States and in other countries. We have the largest library of any travel app in the United States. We've been, we do everything from walking tours to driving tours to boating tours. Even we have a ski lift tour. And basically how it works is once the tour is downloaded on your phone, you don't have to have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth and none of that stuff. And our tours are curated. And the whole idea is to have a hands-free, not looking at your phone, but like you said, if you're walking, downtown, this knows exactly where you are. So it would say, hey, on your right here is this historic building where so-and-so grew up. Or, this is the spot where, a huge event took place. So it automatically knows it's GPS triggered. So again, the idea is it's, hands off your phone, you just stick it in your pocket and then it plays automatically. You can also go online and look at these tours and do them virtually, which is a lot of times if people are going to go visit a place, they go look at these virtual tours. And then when they get there, they're like, that's where I want to go. I saw that one online. That's the one I want to go see. So what we do is we have done this through, many different towns throughout the United States. And one of the tours we did, a driving tour up in Jersey that we just launched, is called 10 Crucial Days, because we know the anniversary of the Revolutionary War is coming up and they're starting to gear up for that big time. And, I don't know if I sent you a link to that, Mark, but I think I sent you some information. If not, I'll resend it. But there's some great tours that you can just click on your computer and check them out. And you could play them, in order. You can put it on play all and listen to them like a podcast if you wanted to as well. But what's great about these tours too, you talk about economic development, not only can you highlight certain, buildings, but if you could highlight restaurants and locations, or say, click here for a free coupon, to go into here for, free ice cream or whatever. So if you wanted, the community to contribute, they can. Most of our tours are free for anyone to use. So it's usually the community or the organization that pays for the tour. And then all the visitors I think we have like 1% or nine tours out of 200 are, you have to pay for, like the big ones like Yellowstone, but normally they're free to the user to use. So the great thing too is it's on what's called a shared platform. And what that means is that if you are looking at a tour in Easton or near Easton, you can see all the other tours that are nearby as well. So it's sort of like a self-fulfilling. They advertise each other, because a lot of our users take a tour and then they say, where's another tour? So once the tours start forming in areas, it starts to kind of feed upon itself as well, which is pretty exciting. We also help promote the tours for you guys. We'll give you a marketing package. It's not a big one, but we can also do premium marketing. the 10 Crucial Days tour, we launched it in December in winter. Just they wanted to launch it then. And it's over like 5 million impressions. And I mean, it's blew up for the social media aspect. So like more and more people now are wanting to go to these places and visit. So you talk about creating that demand for tourism. A lot of people will look at these tours before they go and then say, that's where I want to go. And we'll provide, QR codes and stickers, and you can put them on your visitor center, like a poster that says, hey, download this great walking tour of Easton. I would recommend when you make the tour is create a catchy name. So it's because some people just put, downtown Easton walking tour. I would recommend, I don't know, something fun that gets people to go, what's that? So just something we found in the past that, make it a little bit more fun to go with. So we walk you guys through the whole process. Really it's just a matter of getting the sites determined, supplying us with the images that we can, put on the website, text. And then if you could provide a narrator, that's great. Or we can provide a narrator. Just if you provide it, it's a lower investment for you guys. We also will walk you through a webinar, on how to write for audio. We can do it also. We can write for you, but if you've got someone who's a writer, we'll teach you how to write. Because again, the whole point is not just to give the facts and say this building's been here since 1872, and we try and create an experience for them. So you can put sound effects, you can put video, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff with it too, and you can provide wayfinding as well, which is if it's not a straight line tour, it will stop you and say, hey, at the purple mailbox, turn right to continue your tour. As you get to a certain place. So that's kind of gave you the fire hose there, 10,000-foot view there. So
pictures or like a sample of an audio or something that we could hear so we can.
Yeah, let me see.
Myself, I can. I'm a visual person, auditory person. So if I could see something or hear something, like a snippet of what a stop is on a tour, something like that.
Yep. I'm gonna,
because for us in Easton, we would listen to that and then we would visualize like Oak Saints Hall or the library or the railroad station or the Rockery, whatever. Like, our downtown area has a ton of U.S. history. So we could take whatever you can show us and visualize that in our context.
oh, sorry, I muted you. Let me see if I can share my screen here.
Well, I just downloaded the app and, you can scroll through and it's like the Freedom Trail, Providence, downtown Providence, Manchester, Cedar Swamp. Like you can choose from all these things. It's really cool.
Oh, I'm glad you're on it. I'm trying to, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Now I got to get back to the website because let me just find I'm hoping that you guys will be able to hear it. Sometimes on Zoom it doesn't come through, but we're going to check it out here.
And Jim, is this the website that we could go to as well and look? Because Isabel was asking for the.
Yep, it's Travel Stories GPS, and it's literally I'm on the site that anyone would go to, and I'm going to
put the link in the chat.
Estás en Peter's Path, que fue construido en su totalidad por voluntarios de Bayou Land Conservancy. Estos estanques.
Wow, I picked one. Oh, we also can do it in Spanish. So, wow, that was random.
I think that's a brilliant sales strategy because there's a lot of places that I'm thinking of for this that definitely need bilingual or multilingual.
We can also do, we've done one in Mandarin even. So again, pretty much any language, but Spanish is very popular. So here's just an idea of this.
Let's talk about critters. Did you know that Washington County, Utah is a biodiversity hotspot? That means this area of the state is home to an unusual number of unique plants and animals. In fact, Washington County is the most ecologically diverse county in Utah.
So, and then you can explore it remotely. So I'll go to that one and you can see the tour And you can do this on your phone as well. So I'm just giving you kind of the bigger version on the site as soon as it pops up. So here's the tour. And these are the stops right here on the side. So if you wanted to, you could play all, or you can just do, you know, this one. So I don't know if it'll play it, but what you'll see is the sound is not coming through, but everything here, stop here at the sign kiosk and sit down, is what you would hear from the audio as well. And then these are the images that would be scrolling through. Let me see if I can play it.
Stop here at this sign kiosk and sit down for a second. Let's talk about Badlands. It's a daunting name, isn't it? Badlands are the sparsely vegetated, low-rolling hills and bluffs that stretch before you. And despite looking barren, what you see is actually a healthy landscape. These Badlands mark where the northeastern edge of the Mojave Desert ecosystem meets the sedimentary strata of the Colorado Plateau.
So again, this is where you'd see it virtually, but the whole idea is that we don't want you really looking at this on the computer in your pocket, right, and you're walking through this area. But again, this is so you get a feel so people can look at it online as well. So does that help, Mark?
It does help. It does. You know, when I think of a walking tour, I'm not on mute, am I?
No, we can hear you.
So when I think of a walking tour, and I shared this with the group a couple months ago, I think of the Newport mansions. So it's what you just showed us encapsulates geography or plants, and that's all good and well. But for our context, a story will be told about history, which
yes,
is more relatable to the Newport mansions. So when I was down there, you'd go into a room, you had a headset on, and you would hear china dishes, plates clicking, and you would hear buzzing and like music in the background, and then they would go on to tell a story about a party that occurred there, and it was absolutely captivating. And that's very different than what we just heard. What we heard was you know, just wasn't as, in my personal opinion, wasn't as captivating as what I expect to see downtown.
So what I can do is I can find you a tour that has all that, because we
Yes,
absolutely do that. Yeah. So you want sound effects and
yeah. I want the full experience. I want people to be completely captivated and wanting to get to the next stop. And then when they're done with it, to turn to their friends or family and say, "You got to check this out. That was the most coolest, fun experience that I didn't know existed."
That is exactly what we can do for you. So I'll get you a tour of sound effects. I don't want to randomly go through here and so I just thought you wanted to see what it looked like, you know, online. But I can definitely, I'll send it to you and you can forward it to everybody else, and it'll give you what you're looking for. So because we have, you know, we did a tour down in Louisiana where we've got narrators very local sounding,
Right,
you know,
right.
You know, and then we also have an Appalachian one where every stop is almost all the stops. It's a whole bunch of different narrators, but again, they're all from the region. So, and then there's sound effects, like you go by a mine and you hear the mining going on,
Right,
like that one thing. So yeah, absolutely. So, yep.
like I want to hear a train whistle when the tour of the railroad station comes up. I want to hear that train pulling into that station. I'm not kidding. That's what I want.
No, perfect. Because that's what we want. Because we try to encourage people to do that. And some people are like, "Now let's keep it simple." I'm like, but make it an experience. Let's immerse them.
Right.
So,
well, what it does is, if they're done well, is it transports you into that moment in time. That's what it does. And that's what I want to see. So if I recall, Jim, when you and I emailed back and forth, a tour, we talked about 10 locations. So you would have 10 locations in our downtown area. And we would pick out the locations. We would share with you these locations, and then we would give you context and a narrative to tell it. And then you guys go to work and you do all the hard work putting it together. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
And guys, to the Economic Development Council, now's your time. Ask Jim any question you want. Let her rip.
Yeah, I have a question, Jim. How do your clients measure the value or success of this program in driving new activity to the areas that they're hosting?
Well, we also provide quarterly data reports on visitors, usage. We're actually trying to up our game too and get more demographics for you guys. But we have quarterly reports that show the and I don't know how they measure it after that, but we know that one is just the direct, especially from these places that you can see the visitor. You can know that that's a visitor to like a nature preserve or a museum, or if they're taking the tour, they know they're doing it besides the data. So the way they measure it, or we help them measure it, is by the users. How many people have used it, how many sessions have been used. So, and then we get with them if they want to on a quarterly basis and say, hey, this is looking really good, or hey, maybe we need to up the game here and do some more social media or whatever. So we try and guide them as well.
Yeah, because I think that would be an important thing to be able to measure, Mark, is how much traffic is actually being driven to the area as a result of the tour.
Yep, exactly. I think critical as well. And and we have some clients too, which is a challenge. They don't do that. They turn it on and think it's it, we're done. And it's like, no, you can't just turn it on and they will come. you have to advertise.
A marketing package, like you mentioned, to spread the word and raise excitement.
Yep, absolutely. And again, for our clients, it's a partnership. So we will help you market it, but if you have anyone that has any ability to market on their side, whether it's social media or however you want to do it, it adds tremendous amount of value and increases the exposure. So
I noticed on your website you show colleges and universities specifically as a place to tour, and Bruce is here representing Stonehill College. I think that really could be super cool as well. And we have a targeted area for economic development next to the college. So when that starts to get built out, to add that to the tour, saying, if you want to get a cup of coffee or go sit in a bookstore, like here, to take them, on and off the campus in a valuable way. But I think that could really be beneficial. Myself, I still get lost on campus, even though it's a small campus, but I think that could be really great for Stonehill as well.
Yeah, and we started developing some of these tours for colleges when COVID came, right? So people still wanted to see the college, and they didn't want to go walk in a group and walk with a bunch of people, and people were running out of guides because all these, volunteers didn't want to show up there. So we gave them these tours you could either do it virtually, or you can go on campus and just take the tour yourself. And it took you all over and told you, the features and the places to eat, like you said. And so it's been very popular. So
anybody else have any questions? Isabel and Lisa, you guys, you're here on a good day. So by all means, share your thoughts, ask a question. You're on mute, Isabel.
Right, there we go. Yeah, it sounds fabulous. I downloaded the app and I will play with it. I definitely think it would be worth doing the voice ourselves rather than the computer generated voice. So I'm thinking of someone like Fred Ames, who has a very distinctive voice, but I'm sure there's lots of people that would volunteer to do the different voiceovers. I guess it's one of those things, having my business hat on is the financial investment versus the potential return, and I know that's not for me to get involved with, but I'm sure that Jim maybe has some information on that from previous clients where you can say, okay, this was the financial investment and this is the potential return. I do think it would be difficult to measure, that return. But you know, again, I'm sure that the team there have chatted about that in more detail.
Yeah,
that's,
and to your
that's
point,
something that we talked about in previous meetings, Isabel. The question was posed: who benefits from this? Ultimately, who is the beneficiary of a walking tour? Like, why even do it? So you have a walking tour in an area, and the goal is to draw in people to traffic this area, so that as they're in that area, they're going to be patrons of whatever business exists in that area. It's really hard to capture. It's really hard to quantify, because you would actually have to go to the businesses and say, has your business benefited because of this walking tour? It's almost impossible to really nail down. But the purpose is to enhance an area so that business can be more successful in that area, ultimately making the town and that economic zone more successful, so that the town gains more revenue. It's like this full circle effect. So you have to really look at the big picture, or in my mind, I look at the big picture. It's not just, this isn't a walking tour for me only. This is an economic driver. This is an enhancement for business that will in turn pay in spades towards the town and make us all successful. It's not just a walking tour. This is a big picture here. I hope I shared that decent enough. Jim, I cut you off too. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, and also, Mark, I think there are ways that on the town side, you'd come up with metrics by which you'd measure the success. I mean, there might be, as part of your marketing campaign, for example, a promo. Jim mentioned, you know, maybe there's a gift certificate you cash in at a certain location, or if we had an information center, you check in with the information center and get maybe a little trinket or something, and you could measure participation that way. Just a general, if as you're rolling it out, letting the businesses know and just that this is happening, and track what their walk-in rates were previously, and then if they are seeing an uptick, things like that. I think that, you know, we could come up with that. I think as Isabel's saying, I think it's important that that you be able to identify some metrics to measure how successful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the walking rate. Go ahead.
Sorry, we can definitely, I mean, as a chamber, like, we'll definitely promote everything. What I'm thinking is the QR codes, you know, if we have those as a little decal that we can push out to all of our members for them to display at their businesses, I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, we can do posters, stickers, table tents, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
we should market it. We should connect it to the Discover Easton app and have that be one of the buttons on the app, so that we're not giving everybody a whole bunch of different apps to use. And it will also drive them to the business directory app as well. And, you know, we could do a campaign like, you know, tag us on social media and see, you know, really try to encourage that and see how many of those hits we get. But just like with the app on the back end, we can measure how many people are using it. And, you know, anecdotally, we can ask the businesses, has it given them an uptick or not? So.
Hey, let me try something real quick on this 10 crucial days one, just to see if this has got sound effects. I'll be quick. That's also got different, let's try this.
While you're looking that up, let me ask you a couple questions too. So Dottie alluded to it, but the program's scalable. So we start with 10 sites, but we can add to it.
Yes. Yep.
Which I think is absolutely good. And you're going to hit play?
I'm going to wait till you're.
Okay. So
yeah,
from like a measurable rate of return on this as well, like Mark alluded to, we did talk about it a bit already. I think there's two measurables. One, if people come to town anyway. There were students from MIT Architectural School in Easton, I think 2 weeks ago, looking at all the the RO architecture. So I think there's an opportunity to capture the people that are already coming down, enhance experiences of people that are already coming down. So they're speaking about Easton and their experiences here more dynamically than they would if we don't have the app. I don't think that's a real measurable, but I think it's a dynamic that's going to get people speaking positively to their experience here in town. From an expenditure standpoint, unless things have changed from the last call, I think it was around a $10,000 to $15,000 investment to get things going, which, you know, every dollar and cent invested on the town side is important, but from a risk analysis gap around rate of return and return, I think this is pretty minimal from a financial standpoint, and the upside to it is, pretty great. So I'd want to kind of like pivot this conversation to once we get all comfortable and everybody's on board, pivot to let's find the expenditure, confirm that the select board can, appropriate the funds and start working on the deployment of it, as opposed to getting into the deep analysis as to how this is going to look right here, right now. So I'm just hoping that's my expectations, and I'm hoping that that's kind of aligns with everybody else, but kind of going from, okay, concept's great. We love the idea from a procurement appropriation standpoint. Let's move it along as quickly and efficiently as possible.
And Dan, as an administrator, I just want to mention, we do have to follow public procurement law.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not alone.
No, I understand that, but I just want to make sure Jim's aware of that. And
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the questions was going to be, who are your competitors in this environment?
Who are our competitors?
Yes.
Well, the competitors.
And we don't even, I mean, like to Dan's point, we don't have to get into that now, but that's something that
it'll go out to bid. And
Yeah.
by law, it has to.
And the difference that you just be aware of is that there are other companies that build audio tours, but you build it. So they'll say, you can do this for $1,500 or $2,000, but you have to do all the programming, the development, everything.
Yeah.
So that'll be the
We
difference.
can't do that. We are not
Right.
capable. We don't have the bandwidth. That cannot be done by the town of Easton.
Well, and that's why we do it, because 99% of our clients don't have the time, they don't have the capacity or the bandwidth or the IT knowledge to do it. So we just do all the heavy lifting for you guys. So, but
we'll talk more about that for sure. But can you share us in the effort of time? Can you share with us what you do have queued up here?
Yeah, I'm hoping it has a sound effect. If not, I will cut it off and I'll send you a link.
Okay.
Take a walk through the park toward the riverbank as you listen to this part of the tour. Imagine you have just marched to this spot from your camp a few miles away. The weather that morning was relatively calm, but now an icy rain has started to fall and a northeast wind is kicking up. You are ordered to get into a boat, but you have no idea what is coming next.
Mark, I'm getting cold.
See what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. It has transported you to that moment.
Pipes or high-pitched flutes were used to relay signals that could be heard over the sounds of battle. Boys were often recruited to serve in this role. Private Greenwood described what the ordinary soldier was thinking that day.
None but the first officers knew where we were going or what we were going about, for it was a secret expedition. This was not unusual, as I never heard soldiers say anything, nor ever saw them trouble themselves as to where they were or where they were led. It was enough for them to know that wherever the officers commanded they must go, be it through fire and water, for it was all the same owing to the impossibility of being in a worse condition than their present one.
Well, there you go. So that's just a little bit. So you had some rain and wind and, so again, it is definitely way more effective to do that too. It's just, it immerses you. It gets you right into the thick of things. So,
well, Jim, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, for sharing with us all this stuff. You will be hearing from us, as Dan had mentioned. We have some things to work out. I don't want it to take forever to work out work all these things out so
Yep.
we can come back to you.
No, I
and-
appreciate it. Appreciate your time, guys. And it was great meeting everybody. Congrats on your new position. So hopefully we'll be talking real soon. I'll circle back with you, Mark. If you guys have any other questions, just you could send me an email, or Mark's got my contact info, or give me a call. So I look forward
Sounds
to
great.
hopefully working with you guys. So
Thank you so
All right.
much, Jim. Take care.
Yep.
Talk soon.
yep, have a great weekend.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is the business forum. Stephanie, if you could take that away. We have COVID recovery check-in, which is great. Isabel's here, so we could ask her how her businesses under her umbrella are doing in COVID recovery. We have Discover Easton campaign and Easton tourism.
So first, I'd like to say hi, Matt, who just joined us. That's great. The members of the council who have been members for a few years will recall that for a while we were trying to do quarterly business forums where we would host a meeting, invite members of the business community. I think we did one that was more broadly based. We definitely did one with the Queesit commercial district business owners. And it really was just to check in, share with the business owners what the town was doing. At that time, a lot of activity was going on with the sewer projects, but even with roadway improvements and things, we have more infrastructure updates we could give. I think it would be a good time to do a COVID recovery check-in with people, see how they're doing, and talk about the Discover Easton campaign and the whole idea of Easton as a tourism center. So wanted to put that out to everybody and kind of throw around some potential dates and thoughts.
I think it
saw
would
some
be a
heads nodding.
Yeah, I would think it's a good idea for sure, because I think it'll help build on you know, the relationships that we formed during the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know there was a Discover Easton meeting this week, but as you may or may not know, real estate is just off the chart at the minute, so we didn't make it to that one. So I would really like to refresh that whole relationship, and anytime we have you guys come and speak at a chamber breakfast or any type of meeting, we always get a great response from our members. So I definitely would like to see that business forum move forward.
Yeah, you know, one of the things during Easton Outside and Discover Easton, and Isabel, you were there for a lot of it. The conversations were great because they were at times hard. They were difficult, and not in a bad way. That's not a pejorative thing. You shed light on things. You shared things. You shared frustrations with us, so that we could address, so that we could either shift and fix, or share why things, you know, the optics of things, or why things weren't happening in a certain way. It was a great back and forth dialogue, which didn't previously exist. So I'm completely in support of it.
So I guess the first question, so let's see, Stonehill hosted one of the meetings. We did one of the meetings at Doug King's community room at Queesit on the Pond. Do we want to try to do it another location? I'm in the process of arranging. We could try to see if Avalon would allow us to host it in their community room. I don't know if for business owners like the Queesit owners, if that's a big hike, if we wanted to do something more central, but I'm open to ideas, or if there's a business that would like to host it, if someone has some thoughts about that.
Well, Shovelworks has a conference room, and they are chamber members, and obviously that's right downtown.
Yeah.
And I can certainly, you know, John and I are still living there at the moment, so I can certainly connect you guys with the office manager there.
Okay, if you would do that, I start a week's vacation tomorrow, so I wouldn't be able to start reaching out until the following week, but I'd be happy if you could get me or put me in contact, maybe just do an introduction via email, Isabel.
Yeah.
And then I can follow up. And then what do we think would be a good time frame for everyone? And I think what we found too is that I'm speaking very generally, but mornings generally work better for people. I think the chamber does that as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
For most business owners.
Yeah, definitely, because with the all best of intentions, when you get into your actual working day, you know, stuff comes up.
Yeah.
Or if it tends to be early, it definitely works better. I'm having to think that the conference room at Shovelworks, it is small by comparison of the other venues that you've spoken about, but I would say you could probably get 20 to 30 people. Okay, so that you know,
yeah,
just
that's generally been about the audience we've drawn.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, but yes, mornings are better. Were you wanting to do it in the next month, or like, is it a May or a June kind of timeline that you were thinking?
Yes, the short answer is yes. Probably before people start really getting into heavy vacation schedules over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But again, okay. I'm open to suggestions.
What did you say, at the beginning of summer?
So I would think we should do it sort of May or June.
Yeah,
maybe early
June is a good time.
Yeah, to give us time for planning and
yes.
advertising and all of that good stuff.
All right, so in between now and then, or the next few weeks, we'll be in contact, and we'll talk about where, who, what, when, speakers, all this good stuff. Does that work?
Yep. So I will, once I hear from Isabel, the first step will be to contact the manager at Shovelworks to make sure that a room would be available in the time frame we're talking about.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, keep it thinking about logistics, right? So our next meeting, this is April, our next meeting's not going to be till mid to end of May. So if we were going to have, we really couldn't have something in May unless we were already planning it now for logistics. So we're going to, I think what would be good is once you got some information, Stephanie, if you could send it out to us and we could all weigh in just directly back to Stephanie about, you know, dates that would work or speakers or whatever, so that when we do meet in May, it's flushed out and we've got like a tentative date on the books. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, if we start talking about it in May, we're not going to have enough time to promote it in June.
Right.
Okay, and what I'll do actually is I'll take a little bit of a video clip of the room. So as, you know, then you guys can have a look at it and be like, okay, that's perfect. That's just what we need, or it's too small, whatever. And I'll find out from them, you know, what the logistics are as far as, you know, time, etc. But I say they are chamber members, and then the other place that would be in my mind would be Quissit if you wanted something a little bigger. So
yeah, they that I don't know, I don't know if they have a second community room in the newer building. I think that's actually where we were, in the newer building. I know Doug King, they don't own Quissit on the Pond any longer. It's under new management.
No, I mean Quissit House.
Oh, Quissit House, yeah.
And if you need a bigger menu, I'm sure I can find some space here on campus too. Not a problem.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we,
very well attended.
why don't we do this? Isabel, if you could put me in contact with Shovelworks, and then, I mean, they're right down the street. If I can get in touch and they can meet me in the room, I mean, if they're amenable,
Yeah.
then I can make a decision. I'm familiar with what Stonehill has. I'm also familiar with Queeset House. And if everyone trusts my judgment, I will make a recommendation on the room, and then we can work from there on getting dates from everybody and coming up with a date and a more firm agenda. I mean, I really think that what I laid out is probably what the agenda will be. And then we can have that set for finalization at the May meeting. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Yeah.
That's
I'll do that.
Perfect.
So let's
Okay.
do that. Okay. What else do we have for business forum? So business forum, we already talked about Easton tourism. That was the whole walking tour. So we have that done. Outreach, support, and congratulations. Stephanie.
Yeah, this is our running list of just business, things that have happened, how we reached out to different business owners. And a lot of this sometimes is just communicating either through our social media website or emails. So Dunkin' Donuts at 700 Depot Street, which is down at the Five Corners, they went through a whole renovation. They've kind of refigured their interior. They serve coffee on tap now, which is really interesting. I did not know that was a thing until I went to the ribbon cutting, and I saw Isabel there and Darcy from the library, from the YMCA. So they had a grand reopening and ribbon cutting. We have notified property owners through our email, and I share with people like Isabel, when the Commonwealth is seeking space for lease in this area. We've had a couple of those notifications recently, so we shared that along. I think Dottie came across this. This also came across my email. There is a collaborative workforce and upskilling road show that's taking place to help people acquire and retain talent. The Hire Now grant program, the select board received, and Dave, I'm going to let Dottie speak more to this, has 2 additional licenses through the ABC, and actually went out soliciting proposals for those licenses with a particular focus on underserved business communities.
I think the one
and then we shared, very excited to share Stonehill's 12-month photonics certificate program. I hope that brought some attention to the program. It certainly brought some attention to me, and sharing that with a couple of my grandchildren who in the future might find that a good program to participate in. And then, of course, the Manufacturing Acceleration Program funding, which was awarded to Northeastern Machine. Congratulations, John.
Congratulations, John.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So when I first started putting the agenda together, I was thinking, geez, it seems like it was a real slow month for outreach, and then realized that, when you're acting on these as they come up, they add up.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add, so the Hire Now that's in there, they had a meeting online and in person this week, Mass Hire and those groups. This is a really awesome program where the state will give you $4,000 per hire to use to incentivize hiring people for certain businesses that qualify. And I was talking to the Plymouth Chamber this morning, and they were saying restaurants down there are really having a hard time getting cooks and like the back end help in the restaurants. So they could offer a sign-on bonus that says, if you stay with us till Labor Day, we'll give you, X amount of money at the end of this month, X amount of money at the end of next month, and to really try to keep people on for the whole seasonal period. So I'm going to get a hold of that video and share it on the Facebook site for us. but I think that we should also try to tag businesses if you want to go on there, or I'll certainly send it to you, Isabel, and you can share it to your business network.
And I'll
So
share. Yes.
I think that that's a really good opportunity to take advantage of right now.
And I was saying I will share it through the chamber as well on
Awesome.
social media.
Terrific.
Dottie, did you want to mention the 2 alcohol licenses?
Really just in summary, what Stephanie said, we've got 2 alcohol licenses and we're putting them out to bid. So people are going to have to give us like a little business plan on, what they're going to do, how are they going to maximize it, and where is it going to be in town. We need it to drive economic development. So we want to hear what they have to say. And I'm really excited about this opportunity. It's really hard to get liquor licenses. The census gave us these 2 extras. Every once in a while, we can try to go for a legislative process to add one, like we had to do for the Big Y, wanted to put a beer and wine store in there, and we needed to get the legislation to allow us to do that. It took more than a year. Yes, more than a year. Yeah. So it's really, this is a great opportunity for us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, before we move to the final item, which is to close everything out, it is about noontime. Does anybody have any last comments, questions, anything they'd like to mention?
Yeah, just briefly, I'm sorry for being late. I'm back to back all day with work meetings. I just wanted to update people quickly. I had some time between the previous call and this one to put in place all those website edits we've been working on since the beginning of the year. So the Think Easton site now reflects that new layout we've kind of been workshopping. As always, if folks have any edits, updates, suggestions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to put those into place. But I think the site is in a much better place, much more streamlined. I think it's easier to navigate. So I just wanted to give people an update on that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. I know you've been working really hard on it, and it is making incredible strides. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome.
And Mark, I just want to let you know, we have 997 users on the app. Wow. Get 3 more people on to sign up. We need to hit at least 1,000.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, if we have
Lisa's going to do it right now.
I'm on it.
There you go.
All right, guys. So if it's all right with everybody, I would like to move into the final item on the agenda, which is closing everything out. So would anybody like to make a motion?
Moved.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, Boyer, and was that Dan second?
Yep.
All right, so all those in favor, we're just going to raise hands instead of going around the room. All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Good to see everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.